Hello everyone, I am Elvire Nguepnang and I am a second-year medical student at the Carver College of Medicine here at the University of Iowa. And I am here today to talk to you all about my medical school journey. But before I talk to you all about my medical school journey, I am going to give you a little bit of a background about me and where I come from. I was born in Cameroon, a country in Central Africa. And my parents made the decision to move my sisters and I to the United States a little bit more than a decade ago in search of better educational opportunities. And I remember when I first arrived here, I got off of that plane, and that was the first plane that I had ever taken in my life. And you can imagine the excitement that I felt at that time. I felt so invigorated, not only because it was my first plane, but because I was thinking about who I could become. And then the cold air hit me. It felt so strange to me being in an environment this cold. Eventually, I got used to it. I remember my sisters and I experiencing our first snow and playing in it day after day after day. Ultimately, though, the excitement wore off. But apparently, not so much for me, because I decided to attend 4 years of medical school here at the University of Iowa. But going back to when I first arrived here, I did not speak any English. And so instead of advancing on to 6th grade, I was held back a grade. And so while attending my 5th grade classes, I also took an ESL class, English as a Second Language class. But eventually, I learned how to speak English. And I'm really grateful to the professor back then, to the teacher back then, who poured into me and taught me English. Fast forward to high school, where I started to explore medicine by shadowing physicians and nurses and volunteering a little bit after school. And even though I had medicine in the back of my mind, even though my parents encouraged me to explore medicine, I wasn't sure that this field is the field that I wanted to go into. I matriculated into college not long after graduating from high school, and I explored medicine even more. I shadowed some more physicians, I did some more volunteering. My major in college was biology because I had my eyes set on medicine, set on becoming a physician. But the funny thing is, after I graduated from college, I felt a little lost. I was not completely sure that this field of medicine is something that I can do, especially because at that time, I had not yet taken the MCAT. Yes, that test. That test that can seem insurmountable. And so I applied in and got accepted into a post-bac program. And this was a 2-year post-bac program that was created to help students like me do well on the MCAT and get accepted into medical school. So I finished the first year of the program. And at that time, I didn't know myself very well. And so since the majority of my class was signing up for the MCAT, I felt like I also needed to sign up and take the test because everyone else was too. I did not listen to my intuition, and my score reflected that. After I finished the post-bac program, I needed some time off from school. And so I spent that summer of 2018 with my family. I rested, I relaxed, I ate good food, good Cameroonian food. I slept a lot as well. And then my parents encouraged me once again to try to take the test one more time. And after getting over the feelings of self-doubt that I had, I created a plan. I went to my local library, not too far from my home, and created a strategy for how I was going to attack and overcome this exam. I went on the website and studied the exam. I studied every single aspect of what they wanted me to know. I reflected on what went wrong the first time. I took a note of my weaknesses. I utilized resources that were available on the official website of those who provide the exam. And I created a plan for how I was going to overcome my weaknesses, for how I was going to overcome my anxiety during the test. And after a few weeks of preparing, I started to study. I studied and studied and studied for 7 months. And then the big day came. In April of 2019, I took the MCAT exam for the second time. And even though I felt a little bit nervous, I was confident that the work I had put in, the reflection I had done, would give me the score that I wanted. A month later, I logged into my computer. I logged into the MCAT website, and I looked at my score. And it was only 2 points above my original score. I felt devastated. I felt completely lost. I felt like a fool because I was writing off of the confidence that I had generated from all of the work that I had put in. I felt like I had disappointed not only myself, but my parents. And after taking some time to deal with those feelings, I talked to my family. I honestly spent some time talking to myself. And I came to the conclusion that I would take this test one last time. And if it did not work out, then I would see that as a sign that medicine is not for me. So I took a few days to a week to prepare for the exam. And by prepare, I mean to reflect on what went wrong. And instead of having multiple weeks to prepare, I had a few days to a week. Then I spent 6 weeks studying for the exam. I studied day in and day out. And then I took the exam in July of 2019 because my goal was to get into the class that would graduate in 2024. And July, and that month, on that day in July of 2019 was my last chance to be able to get into medical school. So I went in, I took the exam, and a month later, I was sitting in my sister's kitchen. I logged into my computer. I logged into the MCAT website, and I looked at my score. And I remember screaming with joy. My sister knew that I was going to be looking at my test, and she came out and she saw me on the floor and she screamed with me. Because the score that I was now looking at was a score that I had never dreamed that I could achieve. It was my dream score. Going back to August 2018, before I took the MCAT for the second time, in the midst of all of that preparation, I had put a score on my wall. And frankly, I didn't believe that I could get that score, but I thought maybe if I can look at it every day, it's going to motivate me. It's going to encourage me to continue to try hard, and it did. But after getting my second score and being nowhere near that dream score, I felt like a fool. But on that day, in August, the score that I saw in front of me was not only 10 points higher than my second score earlier that year, but it was just 1 point higher than the score I had put on my wall in my room almost a year before. My message to you today is that if you're interested in medicine, even if you are not particularly thinking that you might want to go into medicine, but you're curious about it, and maybe you're not completely interested because you have doubts, whatever your reason, I want to let you know that I did it. Here I am today, standing as a second-year medical student at the Carver College of Medicine at the University of Iowa. And if medicine is what you want to do, none of these obstacles can stop you. I am proof of that. And I believe that you can become a physician if that is what you want. Thank you for listening to me. Goodbye.